Alright, hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here. September 12th, 2018, 8:43 p.m. here. I know it's getting close to midnight out there on the East Coast, where Hurricane Florence is about ready to hit there. Sometime around early morning, or maybe mid-morning right there, we're looking at landfall. Right now, current status dropped down to a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds at 110 miles per hour and gust up to 130. Now, if you notice, the eye wall has taken a very deteriorated look. The south edge, the south edge of this thing is definitely being well, I wouldn't say tore apart, but it's not well defined. It's not well organized towards the south edge right there of this hurricane. It's looking a little sloppy. And I guess that's kind of good news for the folks along the coastlines of North Carolina and South Carolina, but it's still a rather potent, strong system with lots of rainfall expected. And yeah, it's still going to be a pretty good sized storm, but I don't believe this thing is going to stay as a Category 2. I believe we're going to pop back up here after gaining a little bit more strength before it does make landfall. I believe we'll see at least another Category 3 status before making landfall. Latest information here from the Weather Underground. Let me show you guys here real quick. States exactly what I stated there. Winds at 110 miles per hour, pressure at 957 MB. This thing is moving northwest at about 15 miles per hour. The latest discussion on Hurricane Florence pretty much repeats exactly what I had just told you in regards to the the eye wall being kind of sloppy looking. The newest forecast track lies between the certain models right here. I'm going to show you those weather models here in just a tad bit. The dynamic models forecast the current shear to subside after 6 to 12 hours as Florence moves farther from an upper level low currently near northeastern Florida. This, combined with sea surface temperatures near 29 degrees Celsius, would allow a last chance for strengthening before landfall. So if this thing doesn't get its act together or build up at all, we could just see this thing hit landfall as a Category 1 or a low 2. As these folks state, this would be a last chance for the strengthening before making landfall. However, the storm structure, the large outer wind maxima, would likely be slow to respond to the more favorable environment. The pre-landfall part of the intensity forecast thus calls for little change in strength, but given all the uncertainties, the confidence in this is low. After landfall, Florence should gradually weaken during the 36 to 48 hour period while the center is near the coast, then weakening more quickly when the center moves farther inland. So no doubt not as strong as folks were predicting. They were predicting this thing to hit at a Category 4 strength hurricane there along the coastlines there in North Carolina. The weather models all predicted it, and this just goes to show any little change of pattern when it comes to the hurricanes. Say for example this low pressure system near Florida and then the high pressure system to the north of it. It's got a lot to do with where this thing is going and how much strength it's going to have there. So, we can get close when it comes to predicting this stuff, but not 100%. You know, even the weather forecast models are not 100% accurate. While Florence has weakened below major hurricane intensity, the wind field of the hurricane continues to grow in size. That's the whole hurricane itself. This evolution will produce storm surges similar to that of a more intense but smaller hurricane, and thus the storm surge values seen in the previous advisory are still valid. The threat of rainfall also has not diminished, and these impacts will cover a large area regardless of exactly where the center of Florence moves. So, you know, we're gonna have to see what this thing does tomorrow, you know, or overnight. This thing could get its act together, and it could show up as a Category 3 once again. So we're looking at 8 a.m. Thursday morning right here. Right around, looks like possibly tomorrow night is when this thing is, at least according to this latest model on Hurricane Florence, showing it looks like possible landfall, well, at least with the eye center, right around 8 p.m. But prior to that, during the day on Thursday, we'll definitely be seeing some tropical storm strength winds kicking in, and also bands of rain making their way into the region there in North Carolina. This is the latest satellite image from a weather radar near Jacksonville, North Carolina. You can just see a little bit of the outer bands here to the south. Let me back up here a little bit. You can see these little bands just starting to come in here onto the radar section. It looks like some other maybe thunderstorms or some small pop-up activity as well within the region, but just starting to see some of the outer bands of this hurricane show up on radar, and it's just right to the southeast of Jacksonville, North Carolina region. So definitely, like these folks mentioned, the rainfall is not out of the question. This is definitely going to be a rainfall producer, but these folks stating here Category 2 predicted up right around landfall, and then quickly diminishing to a 1, and then a tropical storm, and then off to a tropical depression before finally hanging out as a low pressure system further inland. But like I say, once again, winds down to 109 miles per hour, gusts to 132. Still a good sized hurricane. Nothing like it was a couple days ago, or yesterday for that matter. But it's still definitely going to be some interesting activity. We'll have to keep an eye on it overnight. I'll double check first thing in the morning, see if any of the other weather models have indicated a different pattern. But for now, with this GFS model, I'm going to put this into motion just a tad bit and show you guys how quickly this thing diminishes, you know, from being a pretty well, you know, a small hurricane. I wouldn't say it's small, right? Category 2, still pretty good size. Hitting right around, once again, to me it looks as though it may be just right south of the Jacksonville, North Carolina region. And of course South Carolina getting in that action as well once it goes in just a tad bit inland. And then, like the other models indicated, heading up to the north as a low pressure system, and then getting lost in the jet stream. But for now, you know, this is the projected path that these models are predicting. Obviously still along the north, or along the North Carolina coastline. It's going to be pretty crazy. South Carolina in there as well. But like I say, this thing could alter its course and do something different. I know we're getting short on the time of when, you know, the window of opportunity for this thing to gain more strength, but the possibility is there, and we will continue to monitor it. I will keep the live stream up 24/7, or 24, at least another 24 hours or so, while this thing does what it needs to do. So, I guess this is, I can't say it's good news, but they're not going to have to deal with too much of the super duty or heavy duty wind. There's going to be still quite a bit of rainfall. Let's check out the precipitation, and let's see here. We can use this one right here, I believe. A lot of this heavier rainfall moving inland now, and it's not as intense, but we're still looking at, according to these measurements here, still certain areas could see over 24 inches of rain, it looks like. And this is over a fairly wide swath of South Carolina and North Carolina as well. Of course, North Carolina looks like it may be getting in on the brunt of the action. This could all change tomorrow morning, depending on how this thing develops before then, and also if it gains any strength in the meantime. Either way, if you are out there in those areas, please be advised, listen to weather radio, listen to any type of emergency alerts that come on. Of course, take heed to all of them, and try to keep yourself safe. Also, we will be providing links to relevant sources in the chat room on the live stream. The mods will be posting some safety links and whatnot, to warnings and advisories in your region. So just still play it safe. I don't want to say this has been downsized too much. It's downsized a little, but it's still got a lot of potency in it when it comes to rainfall and of course wind. I don't know if there's a big difference in between 130 mile per hour wind to say 110 mile per hour wind. That's a category 2 to a category 4 difference right there. It's like 20 mile per hour more. I'm sure there is, but anything I think above 100 miles per hour or so is pretty powerful. So just be on guard out there. Be alert, folks. I'm going to jump back on here to the live stream here. If you are watching this update video, you're more than welcome to come on over to live stream and hang out and say hi. We still have a live webcam up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Pretty cool scene in the daytime with the waves coming in and the trees and whatnot. Looks like the waves may be picking up a little bit in intensity. Of course, that is expected with this hurricane now showing some outer bands coming up on the vicinity. Alright, folks, have a good night, and stay safe out there, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, anywhere you live. Just be safe. Hurricanes, at least you got a heads up when a hurricane happens, right? Or it's headed your way. Earthquake, a little bit different, so just be prepared when it comes to all natural disasters. Peace out, folks. We'll chat you guys a little bit later.